Boom! According to that, I am live. Welcome. This is Tokyo Tonight. My name is Hiko Simon. It's 10:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time, and I'm doing this today from the new desk. So something's going to look a bit different. The monitor I've actually moved from where I had it mounted before. So the webcam is mounted on top of a monitor, which I used to have being mounted sort of on a table behind the desk that I sit at here. However, with the rebuild, because I made this into a standing desk and I wanted the monitor to go up together, I've put the monitor now on top of the main desk, which means the camera is going to be closer. It's actually slightly above my eye level, which isn't ideal, but I need to be able to pass the microphone underneath it. In fact, maybe I can just adjust this on the fly because we never had a technical issue on this show before. Let me see. I can push that back a little bit. Yeah, it's a nice frame. You can see me pretty well anyway. Thanks everybody for coming, especially I wasn't able to tweet out earlier. I've been dealing with all sorts of stuff tonight. I'm going to Osaka tomorrow. I've just realized that's going to be like a huge, I'm completely unprepared for that. So I'm going to have to wake up and pack and leave in the morning. And I've got a ton of work I've got to do in the morning actually. So yeah, tomorrow's going to be a mess, but it is what it is. I've just realized I didn't turn on the lights, which I always do. Let me do that. Oh, that's an interesting one because the one that I've got behind the camera is now further away. Give me a second here. So let's see. Just forward to here. I'll do that without it putting a shadow on me. Yeah, pretty well lit. There we go. This show is lit. So there we go. Great to see so many people already here in spite of all of my dramas. You like it better without the light. You like me sitting alone in a dark room. Well, I like having the lights on. It's nice to be clear. It helps the camera stuff come out better. In fact, if I move that this way, this is pretty good. No shadows, stuff like that. So who we got? We got DJ Sunny Side Up is in here first. As always, good to see. We've got just latest news headlines rather than headlines. Today I had to scramble, and so I didn't have time to write in the headlines. Plus, there is a thing with this that I have to put the live stream up 1 hour before, or a lot of people don't get notifications about that. So that's something I was sort of rushing. I had to do some stuff at home. And yeah, so there are lots of topics which I will go through, but I was not able to actually I was not organized enough to put the topics in advance today. So you'll just have to, it's just a surprise. I'm going to surprise you with the news. Mr. Cordy Chip in here third. Lara in fourth. Good to see you. 3 likes, but somebody didn't like. Unforgivable. Do remember to like. It is forgivable, but I do appreciate it when you do that because, as you know, it's the only thing that I'm doing this for. Tudom, great to see you as always. Netflix Tudom. Seb, great to see you, Seb. We've got Dan H with the latest on Russian butter prices. Since the war began, butter's costs have risen 26% per year. One thing about people who come from that part of the world, don't get between them and their butter. Yeah. Although, I mean, I can't imagine anything there is going. I mean, given everything else, they must have gone up by more than 26%. But certainly, if that's what wins the war, if it's butter that wins the war for Ukraine, then I'm all for it. Aaron, thumbs up, everybody. Remember to do that. Great to see you, moderator, back in here as always. Yes, was just helping out my son installing DirectX 12 on his computer so that Fortnite would run without skipping frames, which is doing on my computer as well, which is annoying. So I fixed it for him. Won't be able to fix it for me, but there we go. Yes, new tech squirrels all over the place at the moment. It's true. Yes. Shubas is here, never fear. I read that whole thing like Yoda. Good to see you, Shubas. Nice to have you in here. Hope you're having a great Sunday morning there in Panama and drinking a delicious cup of coffee while watching this. Yes, we got Yabba Dabba. I feel like I have to lift to reach Shubas's power and enthusiasm for this. I'm ready for my close-up. You can now see the pain of, oh yeah, I got a year older this week. So you can see the pain of aging in real life here. It would actually be fascinating. I mean, given that I've been doing this pretty much every week for how long? Jeez. I mean, I've been on YouTube since about 2007, 2008, and I've been probably doing live streams since about 2012. I mean, definitely more than 10 years. I probably don't want to See, but you could probably make a time lapse of my face, which I must admit, this is the sort of thing that when Google gets AI built into YouTube and creators can use it, that's the sort of thing I love to say. Just make a time lapse of my face over the last 12 years. Just morbidly curious what that would look like. But yeah, that's got to be coming soon. You hope I know the food in Osaka. I am confident. Osaka's like for foreigner friendly food. It's basically all a variation of grilled and fried and sweet and salty food. It's kind of when I hear people talking about Kansai and Kansai food, you can't say Kansai food because Kyoto and Osaka are so completely polar opposite. When you talk about the world of Japanese food, you've got Kyoto at one end, which I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Kyoto food is bland and boring, and it's poverty food, if you ask me. It's just a turnip cut, served 10 different ways on a tiny plate. I get it. They're fancy, they're elegant, they're cultured. They still believe that they were robbed of the capital, all of that stuff. But of all the many reasons that they moved to Tokyo, including just the weather being better here during winter, it's like summer today. It's 23 degrees today. I was out running in the sun. I took my son out for dinner tonight, and I was just wearing a t-shirt outside. It's late November. The trees have only just started to go slightly yellow. They should be bare, naked by now. This is all supposed to have happened early in October. So the world is definitely coming to an end. I can confirm that. Where was I? The world was coming to an end. That's right. Osakan food. The world is coming to an end. Everything connects to that ultimately. But yes, Kyoto food, I've never been a fan. People say, oh, I really like Kyoto food the best. Whoever says that has to be lying or, have some sort of genetic issue that they, I don't know, that they enjoy the taste of rocks or something like that. Osakan food, however, it's basically savory pancakes served 20 different ways, right? It's, okonomiyaki, it's takoyaki, it's, yaki. I don't know. It's all just got sweet sauce and, carbs. And you really cannot go wrong as Japanese food, unless you have it in America, in which case I've seen people do also unscrew upable food and charge you $50 for it in America. But in Japan, it's good, it's cheap. Looking forward to the food in Osaka, hoping it doesn't take too much of a toll, but it's not going to stop me eating it. DJ Sunny Side Up, stop by in Kochi for a surf. You'll go Saturday, Sunday. I'm there from Tuesday to Thursday, and I'm going to be working the whole time. Is Kochi that close? Like, how far is Kochi from Osaka? Like, is it drivable? I don't know. I've just got an image of, I separate all the things. I mean, I know in theory it is really close over there too. Now I'm saying it, Kansai. You got to go around to Kobe and go over the bridge, right? But I don't know. Is it that close? If I even realized that was possible, I would have been up for that. I just couldn't imagine it. Chris Jack, long time no see. Good to see you, Chris Jack. Yeah, nice to see you back in the comments. Sorry I was late tonight. We've got squirrel police with police cars being called here. Towada 106. You don't like foreigners you don't think foreigners will 100% like Japanese food, except for Osaka. Yanen. I'm going to stop. It's people in Japan doing Osakan accents are like people imitating Irish accents. Irish accents sound fun and funny. They're good comedians, and everybody believes that they can do the accent. And it drives Osakans crazy, everybody imitating their accent badly, particularly people from Tokyo. I'm 25 years in Tokyo. I've been in Osaka a total of about 5 days in my 25 years. I know nothing about Osaka. I watch TV. But the one thing I know is don't mess with the Osakan accent, and that if you speak standard Japanese, you sound like, I don't know. I believe the expression "girly man" has been used by Osakan friends describing how people in Tokyo sound to them. Yeah, the food down there is excellent. No accounting whether it will put hair on your chest or your accent, but I think it's pretty solid food down there. Oh yeah, other places hit and miss certainly, but easy level food down there. Congrats on the pull-ups. I failed this week. I've been building up one every week. I started like 4, 5, 6, and at 7, I couldn't do it. So, and Victor called me up today and told me straighten my arms, which makes it harder, which is why I don't straighten my arms. Dude, I just failed, and you're telling me to make it harder. But yeah, I will keep it up, and thank you. It's fun. It's good to be able to do that. Make a video call with screenshots all of my face. Oh, God, no. Sadiq, good to see you. Sadiq, nice to have you in. Our man from Florida, good to have you in here. Who else is in here? We've got, do I know what I'm going to eat specifically in Osaka? I don't know. It's going to be kind of like, I've been invited to a conference, basically. So I'm sure it's going to be fancy, which I guess isn't really necessarily compatible with Osakan food, but whatever it is, it's going to be good. So I'm just going to go along with it. Naked trees. They're supposed to be. They're fully clothed at the moment, and it's completely inappropriate that the trees are not naked. Someone say naked. Cue the True Life crew track. Yeah, look out, DJ Sunny Side Up. I don't want the AI to ban you again. The world will be ended by Americans. Well, America is the leaders of the world, but the rest of the world, as much as we all like to make fun of America and blame it for everything, we're all quite happy to go along with you guys in the end of the day and say it was America's fault. So, yeah, talking about food, some takoyaki. Takoyaki, honestly, it's okay. It's a great way to burn your entire inside of your mouth all at once. Favorite is buri, says Toada106. My favorite, I'm basic when it comes to fish. I grew up in a fish and chips country. I can eat fish. I love fresh sushi. I love uni if you're going to have sushi of any sort. In terms of fish though, buri's okay. My problem with buri is when I used to go fishing in New Zealand, we would use buri for bait. Buri is bonito, or at least that's what they call it. And most fish have different names in different places, but it's a big red meaty sort of fish meat. And yeah, we solidly used to use that for fish bait. So I always associate it. I have it if it's brought out in sashimi, I will eat it, but I still think it's fish bait. So no, I'm a very simple aji fry, kaki fry man when it comes to. I'm just a kid. I like my fish deep fried, and Japan has lots of that, so I am good. 4 hours drive from Osaka to a surf beach. Huh, that's doable. I mean, I suppose that's Shizuoka distance from Tokyo. It is doable, but that's a rough day trip. That's really a weekend trip. But yeah, no, you know what? Better plan would be just to fly straight down there, which I would love to get down there. But I guess, yeah, you would get Osaka peeps down there. So yeah, every time I get a vacation, I go see family overseas. I don't stay in Japan. So I'm in Japan all the time. So there we go. Aaron likes Hokke. Oh, lady of class. A lot of people like some. I just can't deal with the bones. I'm a baby. So Ido, good to have you in here. Have you been in Osaka more than me? You probably have. I have not been in Osaka very much. My problem with Osaka is that when I first came to Japan, I worked in a souvenir shop in New Zealand for 5 years where there were like 50 Japanese staff, all working holiday visas, who were coming in and out all the time. So in total, I must have worked with like 200 Japanese people, maybe more in my time there. And of those, a solid quarter to a third of them were from Osaka. And Osakan people, you know, when you have a person from Hokkaido or a person from Aomori, they might be outgoing, they might make friends, they might just be quiet people who you just, work with and spend the day and say see at the end of the day. Osakan people are friendly, which means that when you're doing a part-time job with you, they're all funny, they're always talking, you love them. And they're like, when you come to Osaka, you have to come see me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to Osaka and see you. And then the other one says that. And there's like 50 people, which means that when I first got to Japan, I'm like, okay, I have to plan my trip to Osaka. But if I go, I have to see this person, or they won't forgive me. Oh, there's also this person. Oh, and this person, and this person, and this person, and this. I get up to 50 people that if I don't see when I'm in Osaka, I'm excommunicated from whatever Osaka excommunicates you from. So basically, I figured, okay, I'll just go there when I can go and do a proper trip there and see everybody. And that time never came. So 25 years later, I think the first time I went to Osaka was only a couple of years ago, honestly. So, yeah, Toda 106, you like Osaka. They are too friendly. That is exactly, and that's the problem I had. All these friendly Osakan people who I couldn't go there and not see. So that was my sort of problem. But yeah, love Osaka, love Osakan people. What really hit me when I was in Osaka for the first time was I was sitting on the subway and you could hear people. Freaks me the hell out. I mean, Tokyo, you can be unable to breathe. You can be in a train with 10,000 people, packed in like sardines. And you can hear a pin drop. Literally, you could hear a pin drop. In Osaka, you'd be in an empty train, and it's like you're in Happy Days or something. There's people laughing in all directions. You can hear conversations. People are animated, having fun. Strangers say, "Hi, how's your day going?" in Tokyo, you could be put straight into the crazy bus for doing that. Don't ask people how their day is doing. They're very pissed off to be walking around. Osaka people are friendly, so yeah, that's a good thing. There are funny dynamics within Japan that when they had the earthquake up in Tohoku, all the volunteers from Kobe and Osaka that went up there, they went up there to help. But the people up in Tohoku are culturally just so incompatible with people from Kansai, the gregariousness. There were stories about how there was a real culture clash of volunteers who were going up there. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I like Osaka. Yuri the best. Hello, Ukraine. I hope that you're doing well there. I heard about all the attacks on the energy infrastructure there. It looks like Russia's, being assholes as they usually are, trying to cut off pretty much all the electricity in Ukraine at the moment. Hope that you're safe and well there, and love having you in the comments. So good to have you in here. Wow, so many people in the comments. In New Zealand, there was a protest in Parliament. I've included that in the topics. But there we go. When people in Aomori speak their dialect, you can't understand a single word. In fairness, I think what we're talking about was Miyagi and Iwate, although their dialects, when they're spoken fully, are hardcore as well. But oh yeah. Aomori, everywhere's got its thing, and in Aomori, it's definitely the fact that they never open their mouths and people can't understand a word that they're saying. I'm going to talk about that topic, about the protest in the parliament. You love Osaka. It is fun. It's got that grimy, raw, realness. It does. I must admit, I can't really understand why anyone would go to Osaka as a tourist. There's a castle, there's Universal Studios Japan, and there's takoyaki, and that's really about it. But it's good people. So there we go. The America of Japan. I always call it the Australia of Japan, actually. Australia is very much got and I started out before saying it's like the Ireland of Japan. But Aussies are very, in your face and humorous and friendly. And definitely I think there's a very Australian vibe about Osaka. So wave at people in Sydney and people think you're mad. Really? Sydney's scary. I am a Southern Victoria, Brisbane person in terms of Australia, but a Kiwi. Like most Kiwis, I have a home in Australia. Anyway, let's get into it. The Kaiyukan, the aquarium, is great in Osaka. Well, there we go. Osaka has an aquarium. Add that onto the list. Take a nice swim in the Dotonbori River. Literally, they warned people that you could get like an STD from the Dotonbori. Like it's so polluted, and people were joking about like how many diseases people are going to pick up when the Hanshin Tigers won the baseball championship for the first time in 10 million years, and people started jumping in the polluted canal that they have running through the middle of Osaka. And of course, some idiots did it, and some of them literally caught STDs, although it wasn't clear that whether they got it from the river or from being rewarded by all the impressed Osakan ladies afterwards. But either way, don't go there. I'm going to try to go for a run, possibly along the river. I'm going to do my best not to fall into it. That's it. It's 10:53, and I've just been saying hello. I did start a few minutes late, but there are topics to talk about. So, yeah. Last year was around 4 hours on, 4 hours off. Lasted for many months. Oh, the power being on and off. Oh, man. With winter coming up as well. So that sucks. And seriously, my very strong opinions are is that we should give Ukraine everything it needs to honestly smack those bastards out. But, that's my mind. And I'm really worried that the change of government in the US might affect that. Europe should be helping anyway. But anyway, I hope you guys are getting all the help that you need, including with electricity. But honestly, stuff to give it back to them. So, Mike Zilla, does this home in Australia include sheep? No, I don't have sheep in either my home in New Zealand, my dad's home, or my mum's home in Australia. I do remember, I think I've mentioned this before, I lived in Australia about 10 years. I went to a lot of my elementary school in Australia. And I was told by my dad, who was in the New Zealand military, so he's like one of the 4 registered patriots in New Zealand. And being in Australia makes you more nationalistic as a New Zealander. It's like Canadians who live in America. You don't really care anything about nationalism until you live in the arch enemy country. And I remember once in class, a teacher told me how the sheep in Tasmania had the finest grain merino wool. In Tasmania, it was the finest wool of any wool anywhere in the world. And I didn't have the science in front of me. I didn't have the facts. I just had a feeling, and I had my national identity. I outraged 8-year-old. I stood up in the middle of class and said, "Sir, that can't be true." Everyone knows New Zealand has the best sheep. And my teacher is trying to be diplomatic and say, "Oh, New Zealand's very famous for having very good sheep, but actually the best sheep are in Australia, are in Tasmania." And I was like, "There is no way that is possible, sir." My dad was very proud that I started a full-on fight with my teacher over the quality of sheep in New Zealand. I mean, how can that be true, right? There you go. Edith, sounds like a story. This guy was, yeah, well, like I say, this guy was filmed jumping in the river and became a bit of a celebrity for it. So like I say, it's entirely possible he got this STD after jumping in the river as his reward, but we'll see. Yeah, don't mess with our sheep, Mike Zilla. That's the lesson of the story. Let's get into the topics. First one, so I full on rushing through this. Thoughts? Oh yeah, thoughts on the Tyson versus Paul fight. I have two thoughts on this. I have my original thought, and then I have the thought that I had after Bayer McNeil responded to a comment where I shared my thought. My thought was, I'm like everybody. I want to see Iron Mike again. I remember when I was a kid watching Iron Mike just monster people in like one round, and the scariest, hardest puncher, the toughest, coolest boxer anyone's ever seen. A deeply flawed person, of course, but just as a pure like boxer. Never in my lifetime has there been anyone more exciting to watch than Tyson. Maybe Muhammad Ali, but that was before my time. So everyone wants to see the old Mike back, and Mike has done a few comebacks for money, and they've been kind of shit shows, honestly. But at the same time, not only are they bringing him back, but they get him to beat up Jake Paul, right? Is it Jake Paul? It's one of the Pauls. Logan Paul, I don't even care. He can beat the shit out of all of them. So not only are you hoping that he's going to come back as old Mike, you're also hoping he's going to beat the crap out of this douchebag YouTuber who deserves it. So, I felt dirty. I didn't watch the KSI fight. I don't want to watch. I think I've seen clips of him moving around, and he's not a boxer. You look at him, he doesn't move like a boxer. He's shit, and he's just looking for, ways to look tough and get money. But that said, the idea, the hope that Tyson's going to be good again, and you're going to get to watch him beat the crap out of Paul. I turned on Netflix. I did. They got me. I tuned in. I'm one of the people who contributed to all the money that Netflix and Paul made off of this. And of course, he looked like a 58-year-old man with bad knees. He couldn't fire anything off. He looked exhausted after like 2 rounds. I felt sad. It was literally like taking out an old dog that you love and watching someone beating it up. And whatever. I must admit, just after all the hope that I might see something inspiring or some sort of movie story, no, just watch him sort of stand up there, and it was trashed. By the way, the worst fight was the very first fight. The very first show, but one beforehand was not even, that was an embarrassment. But yeah, the fight was it just made me feel sad. And I commented that I watched the fight and it made me feel sad. And then Bayer McNeil commented underneath, Tyson, I'm sure feels bad that you feeling sad, but he has $20 million now. And then I suddenly realized, oh my God, here I am feeling sad for Tyson. And he just got us all to pay him, a 58-year-old boxer, $20 million. That's a fair point. He kind of got us, but at the same time, I don't have to feel sad for him. All he had to do was not die in 5 2-minute rounds of a shitty, boring, terrible fight where he could barely move, and he gets $20 million. Good on you, Mike Tyson. Absolutely, Aaron. I was praying if he couldn't do it with his hands, if he just get a car or something and maybe just hit him in the car park. Anything would have been better, but at the same time, he still got $20 million. He felt so sad. I felt sad as well. I felt genuinely sad until Bayer McNeil reminded me, hey, he still made $20 million. That was an exercise in money grabbing. It was. And you know what? I'm glad he gets it for his retirement and his, alimony and everything that he needs it for. $20 million in 16 minutes exactly. Blue Shift, long time no see. Great to see you. He did give him a good slap. I mean, he stood right on his toe. I don't know. Like I say, you can't. He's old. People get old. That's the lesson of the Tyson fight, and it's not pretty to watch. Hearing Rosie Perez call it as well, like how sad she sounded. She was an awesome commentator, by the way. Like she should be on every fight. Oh, even the commentary was terrible, by the way, except for her. Um, yeah, just a depressing exercise, but good on Mike. Anyway, into it. Bit out of order. I threw this together right before the show. The big news in Japan this week. Scandals. I've talked to you of the 101 Japanese political scandals. Nothing is spontaneous. There are no coincidences in Japanese. Jake Paul versus Jimmy Carter. Oh, how I would love to see Jimmy Carter beat up Jake Paul. But no, I know better now. There's no coincidences in Japanese politics. The head of the DPP was needed by Ishiba to set up a stable coalition government. He was the closest in terms of policies. This guy Tamaki, which, by the way, is the name of Auckland in Maori. So, cool name, bro. The head of the opposition of this Democratic Party for the People, he wanted to be in charge of the Democrats. And the Democrats didn't want him to be the leader, so he split from the Constitutional Democrats and made his own party, basically just to be the me party, which he's in charge of. And he had like a seat just for himself, and one or two of his homeboys. But at the last election, somehow they got like a bunch of seats that gave them the balance of power and meant that the LDP needed them to govern. And the LDP said, "Hey, you want to be buddies?" And he said, "How about this? How about no? How about I just support you whenever you give me what I want, and I don't support you the rest of the time?" And basically caused a whole debacle where they couldn't even confirm the prime minister because he wasn't acting like a coalition partner, trying to have cake and eat it too. And on the day that happened and that he confirmed he was not going to help out the LDP stay in power, by pure coincidence, apparently one of the weekly tabloid magazines received information and photos and details of how he had been regularly seeing a gravure idol, a photo, pinup girl in Japan who is like I believe her name is Koizumi, which is hilarious. I don't think she's a relation. She's like a sort of a sponsor pinup girl for promoting tourism in a particular prefecture. And apparently he had been seeing her for years. And they had like all these sort of photographs of, all the nights that they'd stayed over and all the records. Basically, they'd been sort of there was clearly a file that had been built up on this guy for years that just spontaneously came out in the press the day that he screwed over the government. Of course, somebody said, pull the file, screw this guy. And so how is this sort of thing done in Japan? Of course, in America, well, I question this now, but in America, traditionally, if there's an affair found, you're done for. In France, it would also be bad because, it's a bit like the Electoral College. You cannot become prime minister in France without a certain critical number of mistresses, and only having one wouldn't be even close to enough. I mean, how could you trust a prime minister who's only trusted by one mistress? There again, he probably has more. Japan's always Japan handles it the Japan way, which is demonizes the woman, including if the woman is the politician. The woman's always the one who catches it. However, Tamaki made a problem that someone found an old speech that he made where he said, "I would never have an affair." I mean, most people are just making fun of him. So you don't have the sort of Christian outrage that you have in America, the sort of puritanical, oh my God, you're supposed to, marriage is like the Rick Astley song. You're not supposed to do that. And he's trying to own it and everything. But, he's clearly not going to have to resign. So it's not like, other countries per se. But a lot of people are making a lot of fun of him. It doesn't change his position of power. It doesn't look like he's going to have to resign, but the news cycle has been taken up with that this week. So, how could they? Japanese are supposed to be pure like the elves in Lord of the Ring. That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know how pure the elves in Lord of the Rings are, but I should know that as a New Zealander. Did I watch the UFO hearing? I heard that there was more footage got released, but I don't know. I used to like UFOs and stuff. But I'm sort of like lately becoming old and cynical. I follow the angry astronaut who's into all the alien news, but lately I kind of even skipped that. Everyone's always promising that, I found definitive proof of aliens. They're here. The Pentagon's been hiding it. one, the Pentagon can't hide anything, and definitive proof that's always just around. It's just always just been around the corner since 1947. So I don't know. I've come down to the conclusion that it's probably mostly like special aircraft and spacecraft under development, all that stuff. But I must admit, I should look it up. I heard that there was more footage released, and it does sound pretty cool. You watched about an hour of it. Anything that you thought sounded mildly credible? I heard that the Pentagon admitted they have categories of possibly hostile and all sorts of things. But yeah, definitely, Seb, share in the comments if there was anything, if they actually introduced any of the Zeta Reticulians. I remember when they had that show, UFO Cover-Up, where they had these people from Area 51 say that there were gray aliens from Zeta Reticuli who like strawberry ice cream. I remember that, and I remember those details. And that happened, and then nothing happened, and then, So I don't know. Real life feelings. Watching Ishiba, when he was being confirmed as prime minister, fell completely asleep, and his political opponents were looking at him like this. Although they also fall asleep all the time on camera in Parliament. Taro Aso looking outraged. Taro Aso, practically, I think he spends less time. Oh, here's a video down here of the prime minister being confirmed as prime minister, and here's Taro Aso looking indignant. A person who spends more time asleep in the Parliament than awake, but looking very. But there again, on the one hand, it's kind of gangster to like totally not give this much of a shit when you're being confirmed as prime minister. Apparently, in fairness, there was a lot of like hour-long pauses and waiting in the course of this. So but that is hilarious. You gotta laugh. So the prime minister, of course, overwhelmed with joy at becoming prime minister. Could you imagine Trump? After all, here's the woman that that Tamaki Auckland rugby team right over there. That's the idol that he had an affair with. I like the internet comments I saw about this was there's a story coming out sort of showing a speech that he made where he promised he'd never have an affair. It's like he clearly at the time never thought he had a chance with an idol. Or clearly the line was he had a hall pass above a certain level. Other stories, which again now coming out the tabloids, just unloading on this guy, were that apparently the wife escorted him to a hotel where he met the idol. And, I don't care. I mean, I'm not French, but I don't care. But at the same time, it's one of those things. It's like the Mike Tyson fight. You don't want to fight. You don't want to watch it, but you do. You don't feel good about it. But in the end of the day, that's his thing. But yeah, real life feelings. That's when he won the internal election. This is when he got his first press. That's when the election night when. And that's when he was confirmed as prime minister. And feelings. That's right. Shibuya, when you're over 40 years old, I cannot go to Shibuya anymore. Changing trains. Yes, it's a nightmare right now. They are rebuilding the station, so it'll all be better when the rebuilding of the station is done in about 2050. The first time you go there, of course, Shibuya is amazing. So yeah, this is all very accurate. Gaijin Mami is an institution that must be protected at all costs. Speaking of Shibuya, they found out that they could ban Halloween, so now they are going to ban New Year's Eve. Again, I don't know how they can actually change the calendar for that. Maybe they're going to declare the start of the new year on, I don't know, January 8th or something like that. But they are banning celebrations for New Year's Eve. Personally worried they might be coming for my birthday next. But yes, they've discovered, I mean, fundamentally, I've talked about this before. Zach always responds to me when I talk about Shibuya and its control of outdoors drinking. Shibuya Council is basically run by the businesses and people that live in Shibuya who make money from people buying drinks in the restaurants and the entertainment district of Shibuya, which Shibuya was always like, along with Shinjuku, were the top two going out, meeting your friends and having a party and having drinks in bars that are all over Shibuya. And this thing that initially started as a few homeless people and some cheap foreigners who would go to a convenience store and get a 1 cup or a hyoketsu and drink it out on the street. As we would call it in New Zealand, loading up. You get a tray of beers to get properly drunk before you get to the bar, so you don't spend as much money on bar prices. Basically, over time with tourists and more foreigners and Japanese seeing the foreigners doing it, but it was led by maybe foreigners copying the homeless people. So maybe we should all be blaming the homeless people for this, but clearly the foreigners were the ones doing this and that have the culture. I mean, Japanese generally don't need to load up on 10, strong zeros before going into a pub, like people honestly from New Zealand and UK and whatever seem to need to do. And somewhere along the line, a lot of these foreigners figured out, hey, we're in Shibuya, we're partying, we're drunk, we don't even need to go into the bar. So, of course, the streets got clogged up with drunk people not going and spending money in the bars and driving away people who want to go to the bars because they don't want to walk through packed streets of drunk people. And Shibuya said, hey, how about if you no drinking on the streets, drink inside the bar, spend money. And Zach saying it's like a human right or against the Geneva Conventions or something that you should be allowed to drink on the street in Shibuya. Maybe I'm a grumpy old man. I'm kind of sympathetic to the shop owners saying screw off, and I think they were passing ordinances as well to try to get the communities to stop selling drinks in Shibuya. But it's one of these things that, we can't have nice things because people sort of take full logical advantage of it and ruin it. It's definitely the case here. They're doing this with New Year's Eve now. It's a place where people would go and have countdowns. It still definitely feels like the elderly regulating the young, that just the gathering of young people looks dangerous and out of control. Oh my God, if they'd been doing this in the 1960s, there would be firebombs going off everywhere. Kids nowadays are absolutely, nothing compared to the past, but it is really more about business that this is happening. And that is what is going on there. So, what about the aliens? That's a whole different kettle of fish, but there we go. The military doesn't want to expose weaknesses. Like they're idiots. Yeah, that's probably true. Ohio to Ian Macaulay. Good to see you, Ian Macaulay. Nice to have you in here. Good morning to you. They banned conveni pre-gaming. Glad you got to the party before that. Well, I don't think they banned. I think they've done like temporary bans, like just for a couple of days and stuff like that, and they've asked them to do that. But yeah, geezers got a geeze indeed. Eric Bailey. Is anyone shocked that a bunch of geezers are making the nation a nation of geezers? That's exactly it. Yuri, the best. For context, Ukraine and Russia both outlawed outdoor drinking like a decade ago. I get the feeling if they had enforced that, the whole situation in both countries might be a lot better. But really, did that work? Geez, that seems terrible. Anyway, it's like one thing I like about Japan is that you can drink anywhere in public and not, you can't be arrested for all the stuff you get arrested for. But at the same time, it's because, at least when I came here, there was pretty minimal taking advantage of it. And this is the thing, when you have people come and they are enjoying the freedom that they have here, that they don't have back home, they immediately make it so that people here don't have the freedom either by ruining it, which pisses me off. Speaking of tourists pissing me off, with this, I always, whenever there's like some tourist who sprayed graffiti or, vandalized something, it's always a kid. It's always some dumb, entitled white kid. And I'm always like, I'll bet your mum is proud. 65 years old, here on a family vacation, scratched his initials into the Meiji Shrine, arrested. Again, reminds me of this kid in Osaka who set like 12 fires, like the day before he was supposed to go back to America. He was 18 years old though, so not a kid legally anymore. They've just lowered the age of majority in Japan to 18. And he got arrested. And again, just like, what the hell is wrong with you? Is your mum, I hope your kids are proud. Jesus Christ. So no doubt he's going to get a slap on the wrist, but just the fact they're showing his name. What is his name? They're showing his face on TV, so they probably do it. He says he was doing it as a prank. Ha ha. Honestly, I really think they should. Yeah, I think the Japanese justice system should show them what great pranks they can do. I'm sounding vicious about this, but seriously, when you got 35 million tourists coming through, you want to make sure people realize this is not a good idea in Japan. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Do not mess with the justice system in Japan. And this guy's been arrested and taken into custody, which is a high threshold. They won't arrest you for a lot of things in Japan. So the fact this guy's having a bad time. The fact he's American is good. The embassy's probably going to help him out. But, geez, On a family vacation, you did that and you ended up arrested. Jeez, what a dork. Anyway, if Bart Simpson aged, do the Bartman. Yes, indeed. Enforcement, yes, get fined, and people do it on hush hush off main roads. We're at home now. If you're obvious about it, you get fined. Well, that's something, and I know that they drink hard stuff there, right? I mean, Japan, they have hard-ish stuff, but not vodka. So, yeah. Aaron, please do remember, everybody do like the video. I do appreciate that. People asking about the haka in Parliament. Here's the haka in Parliament. There's a New Zealander that I've been following that I kind of, he expresses opinions that to the extent New Zealand has identity politics. How do I explain this? I want to explain this succinctly because this is not a New Zealand politics show, and I've been living away from New Zealand for 25 years. I am like, I have a New Zealand law degree. I'm a New Zealand lawyer. I studied constitutional law in New Zealand. I was educated by a whole bunch of Maori activists and feminist activists and so on. And, at least I understand the point that these protesters are making, and it's frankly a legitimate one. So how do I say this very quickly? New Zealand originally was a country. It was recognized as an independent country. Basically, the British Empire ran out. It basically got so big that it didn't want any more countries, right around 1838. And in 1840, a couple of English missionaries in New Zealand said to the British, they asked them, Mary, do you want to be part of Britain? And they said, nah. And so they sent a letter back to England saying, New Zealand so desperately wants to be a part of the British Empire. And Britain said, no, we don't want any more countries. We're happy to recognize New Zealand as independent, as a Maori country. And the British missionaries were like, well, the Maori, there's a French colony here, and they're so worried that if there's a French, that are being colonized by the French, they're begging the British to colonize them instead. And the British were like, well, that's understandable. Okay, I'll tell you what, we will only colonize you if you get every tribe in New Zealand to sign a document saying that we understand exactly what being colonized means and we're okay with it. And if you can get them to do that, then sure, why not? We'll colonize them. But seriously, good luck with that. And the people in New Zealand who wanted to make New Zealand part of the British Empire, they figured out a loophole where they went around to every tribe in the country and they showed them a piece of paper which said in English, we own you now. You're part of us. And it said in Maori, you guys get to keep everything. We're just going to be friends and we're going to give you tons of guns and money and it's just going to be awesome. It was written in different languages. International law, if you write a treaty in 2 languages and they don't agree, you favor the language of the party giving away rights. So the Maori part takes control. And basically the Maori were promised in Maori that they could retain sovereignty, which basically after doing that, the New Zealand government was formed. New Zealand was turned into a colony. We started stealing all their land. Maori, when they learned British law and went to Britain and appealed against New Zealand stealing all the land, the British court said, give the land back. That's totally stealing. They have land rights. They have voting rights. They have full citizenship rights, which they didn't have in Australia or America or Canada. In New Zealand, we treated them as equals because, that was sort of the only way that the British weren't interested, frankly, in taking over New Zealand. So they gave everybody full rights. But then the local government stole all their stuff. And the British courts were like, yeah, give them their stuff back. They're British citizens. And the New Zealand government was like, you don't understand what it's like here. Screw these guys. And for like 130 years, we just ignored the Maori. We banned the language. We stole all their stuff. We stole all their land. But finally, after about all that time, people realized, maybe we should give the stuff that we stole back or give compensation for it. And it's been this sort of a thing for the last 50 years or so. Basically, certainly the time that I was in law school, that all laws in New Zealand basically have a clause saying that whatever law, whatever you're doing in New Zealand, you have to have some acknowledgement of the rights, the independent sovereign rights of Maori people that were promised to them in the treaty that established the country. Which means that, for example, if you want to build something somewhere, you have to check with the local tribe if it's okay. If you want to do, you have to make sure there's accommodations for, Maori in recognition of the independent, sovereignty that they've had since the start of New Zealand being founded. And, and basically a right-wing party in New Zealand has, which formed part of the government, said if we get in the government, we're a little fringe party. We want to pass a law that says that we get to reinterpret the treaty and say that no one in New Zealand has more rights than other people, i.e. Maori don't have special rights anymore. We're all New Zealanders. We should all have equal rights. And we want to have a new law that reinterprets the Treaty of Waitangi saying that Maori are just the same as everybody else. which sounds great to farmers and to people who are sick of Maoris taking stuff back. But it's their stuff. It's their stuff. And it's an international treaty that it's the founding document of New Zealand, and they want to pass a law they want to put up a law which honestly should be voted down. Shouldn't even be tabled in Parliament, frankly. It's unconstitutional to even table it, saying that we just want to basically ignore the Treaty of Waitangi, go back to what we were doing for 130 years and just ignoring the Maori and just treating them the same as everyone else, and wonder why they're so upset all the time. And this should, the large governing party said, okay, we'll agree to put it into Parliament in exchange for you joining the government. That's our deal. So they did that, and when they did that, and they were voting on it in Parliament. The Maori Party stood up, and instead of voting, they started doing a war haka, where, in Parliament, which caused Parliament to be paused, which cancelled the vote, and Parliament had to be closed. And some people saying this makes New Zealand look ridiculous. Look, we can't even take a vote in Parliament on a racist, unconstitutional bill that shouldn't have been tabled in the first place. Some people say it looks cool. Yeah, in my mind, the Maori are right about this. It's embarrassing that a major party, in order to secure a government, just compromised and allowed, basically violation of the founding document of New Zealand, to appease a right-wing identity politics party. So, New Zealand has its issues just like everybody else does with identity politics. And the Maori who are doing that haka who were basically sabotaging the parliamentary vote on a vote that shouldn't have been held in the first place. So I agree with them. I actually voted. Did I vote? I voted this time. I voted for the government. I voted for the main party, but I did not want them to coalesce with that bunch of idiots who I also voted for 20 years ago when they were not focused on identity politics. But now, no, they're just it makes they're the ones making us look bad, not the Maori, if you ask me. The Maori are correct on this. So, we were assholes for 130 years, then we kind of tried to be slightly less assholes for like 50 years, and then they're like, well, we liked being assholes better. Let's just have a vote that it's okay to be an asshole again, and we shouldn't be doing it. So anyway, that's what happened in New Zealand, and that's why I voted on that. That's why I didn't vote on that, but that's why that's my position on that for those interested in it. Australia is a different category. In Australia, Indigenous Australians were not counted in human censuses until the 1970s. They weren't allowed to vote until the 1970s, and until the 1970s, they counted Aboriginals in animal wildlife count populations. Aboriginals were counted along with kangaroos and crocodiles in Northern Territory. That's how. I mean, honestly, some of the racial history of Australia would make South Africa look like a liberal democracy in the 1970s. And I say this as a half Australian and with an Australian mother and Australian sister. I'm not bashing on Australia about this, but Australia has horrific race relations, and feeling good because we're not as bad as Australia isn't really a standard for us to compare ourselves to. Australia is making its own progress. But yeah, no, we've all done it pretty badly. Anyway, oh yeah, that's right. We've got Johnny Somali facing prison in Korea, of course. Whatever it is, I hope they lock him up. Sadiq, what do I think about Trump, Musk, and new cabinet nominees celebrate at UFC? I kind of. The thing is, the pro wrestling and UFC crowd and Trump playing up to them was a big factor in him being popular and winning the election. And it's probably smart by the UFC folks as well. So I think it's natural that they would support them. Well, they would show up there. I can't be angry at Trump. I can't be angry at Trump. I'm not even angry at America anymore, frankly, because this is America's just declared what it is. And I love America. I love American people. I do, genuinely. I'm not just saying that, but getting angry at Trump is like being angry at the Labrador that crashed the car. And, just the fact that America took the dog out, scolded, said, you're a very bad dog, and then put him in the car, a different car, and now he's driving again. I'm not, Trump is who he is, and America chose him. The UFC stuff, I like UFC. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm not, I've decided not to waste energy. I probably should, but I've decided not to waste energy on Trump, honestly. The emu population, yes, indeed. It was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, it was awesome, but just for background, all you need to know after all that explanation I just gave you is that they were right. Um, you know, so there we go. Hey, Christopher Luke, good to see him. I love Democracy Energy. Are you talking about the UFC? All of that, yes, indeed. Aboriginal rights, yes. I mean, Australia is really trying to make progress, and there's a lot of well-intentioned people there. But when they did that thing on the Voice, which was a great idea, a completely powerless advisory body outside of Parliament to advise it on legislation, only one voting district in Queensland voted for it, which is where my mother lives. Very proud of that fact. But the rest of the state, it was like a racism referendum in Australia, that thing on The Voice. And honestly, something that was intended to help out, to sort of address the injustices and wrongs of the past, basically became a Mardi Gras of celebrating unity and racism across Australia. It was horrible. Brad F. Give me some likes. If you don't support, don't support. Don't care about Trump. Yeah, I'm kind of geez. I'm gonna measure how. Be careful how much energy I waste on this. People talking about the birth rate in Japan, how the birth rate's been going down, and now other countries basically have all the same graphs as Japan, plunging birth rates. This guy saying, see, Japan's not unique. There's nothing about Japan that's causing this in all these other countries. Japan was just ahead of the curve. He's a journalist, and he always tries to be informed and say, "I told you so." I still think Japan has something to do with this. My line here is, I'm only speculating, but I bet that if you overlay graphs showing sales of waifu pillows in each of these countries, I'm sure it would almost match the declining birth rate. I think they would match. I think they'd match if you took the sales going up of waifu pillows and the declining birth rate, and you inverted it and overlaid it. They would be the same, and it was the same in Japan, and that's the index they should be using for this. A liberal corner of what is the Texas of Australia. Are you in Queensland as well? My mom's in Queensland. She is in the one district that didn't vote for it, but there we go. Eric Bailey, and this is just it. I'm not in America. I'm not American. Americans can choose who they want to vote for, and for all the things I disagree with about it, I do understand the reasons. Look, I actually just watched last night a Michael Moore documentary he just put up a few days ago, just about how the Democrats basically, it was anti-Trump and so on, and all the stuff going on in Flint. But he spent a lot of time talking about how the DNC just screws over like the base that they have, that they take for granted. No better case than with Kamala Harris. They screwed themselves. So the Democrats handed the government over, and Trump was very much smarter about how we went about it. But we'll see. Queensland indeed, yay. No fluoride in the water, no daylight saving, because otherwise the curtains will fade more. Love Queensland. Friday night, I asked ChatGPT to draw a picture of me based on everything I've prompted on ChatGPT, and it drew this picture of me, and I have great hair. I really, really thank you. You can tell. See, you can tell that I'm not asking ChatGPT for like hair remedies, because it believes I am asking it questions with the confidence of a man with this much hair. I said, hey, where's all my music and stuff like that? And it said that it's got like a playlist thing, which it doesn't in here when it explains. So I said, do it again. Show my music. And then it shows like DJ me with still excellent hair. You can tell I DJ with the confidence of a person with great hair. So I actually know a guy. I ran with a guy who looks like spookily like this guy actually a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, there we go. That's what ChatGPT thinks I look like. I can just imagine if it gets like computer vision with ChatGPT, it's going to look at me and just go, oh. It's just going to be so disappointed when it sees my actual face. See, you're the best. Said it. Could have said it better. There's probably a very small overlap between the demographics of people with waifu pillows and people with actual wives. Science. It's science. So there we go. Japan ranked 31st in digital competitiveness. Digging into this, great internet, of course, in Japan, but very low uptake of new technology and just very conservative about that. And 92nd for English skills. This has come up in a few things lately, and pointing out Japan is like currently 125th for gender equality. But with its English ranking now falling from like 60 a few years ago to 92nd, I mean, it could very possibly become worse at English than gender equality within the next 10 years. And that is something I think is bad for everybody. I don't know. It's Japan. Try harder, please, please. You know, either at this or at that or anything. Just try harder, Japan. So there we go. Yes, thanks everybody who joined the new mixes on Tokyo Digital Crew. I'll be doing one, of course, after this, the Tokyo After Party. It is 11:30 p.m., but I started 5 minutes late, so I'm going to crash on a little bit. This desk that you see me at every week, I want to show you something cool. I took out the base and I got a motorized adjustable base, and I took the tabletop and I got a power drill and I put the tabletop on top of a new electric base, and now check it out. Oh, it's like an eclipse watching the sun go away. I can do this standing up now. So no risk. If I do it this way, come think of it, the benefit is no risk of ever standing up and accidentally like not be wearing pants or anything like that. I could just be doing this all the time and not even have to put on pants, which would actually be, yeah, excellent. And by the way, for those of you who are curious what at what you're looking at from a different angle, because you always see this way, you always see across the room. You can see there's the camera, there's Hopi on the wall, and this is the desk. But now the desk, I can stand up. So DJ No Pants, that's a great name. I might have to go with that. So yeah, daylight savings messing you up, Black Tengu. Oh, well, glad that you made it, Black Tengu. Hope you're having a great day there in Athens. Yeah, I must admit, I'm a little bit nervous at how this desk wobbles, but yes, hopefully it's okay. So that's some excitement. I did that yesterday. That was a birthday present to myself. There's a new building in Minatoku that, look at this. If you look at it up close, it's like, oh, that doesn't work. You look at it, it's a proper building, but it's just made to look like this. Like you look at the door is like deliberately like this. But I got to find out where that is. That is really cool. I don't know who made that. Apparently it's a Minato ward. Oh, I've just realized the mic is, I have to sort of, geez, this is put right down around my waist. It's like I have to talk to my body parts. Yes, hello down there. Sound changed. Okay, let's put it back. I think, boom, memory setting 2. So, okay, coming back down here now. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I just realized the mic was placed against my crotch, which isn't really, that's not a microphone. Yeah, I used to tell people don't learn Japanese from anime. Then they all got more fluent at Japanese than me from anime. So now here's a list of recommended hip hop and rap songs for learning Japanese. I don't care anymore. Go ahead. I saw some of the lyrics that they were promoting on this, and I don't know. They're better than Pokemon, so go, so go ahead. Stories about toxic work environments. Like I didn't fart indeed. Although, how do you know? I mean, you know. You know what? If you would know, because when I came and sat down again, I would be dying. Toxic work environments in Japan. The best thing about this article from Gaijin Pod is it's got links that I use to recommend to people on who to call when that happens. The fact that COP29 is in Azerbaijan at the moment is a ridiculous joke. Oh yeah, I love this one. There's a samurai ritual suicide contest was being handled in, where was it again? Somebody in Matsue, proud of its samurai history, decided to have a competition, a seppuku, a harikiri, a disemboweling yourself contest. And apparently people would be judged by how good of a performance they did. And were they allowed to use fake blood? I think they were allowed to use fake blood. Someone pointed out it's probably in bad taste, probably a bad idea. It made me think immediately of the Lloyd Bridges line in Hot Shots. We'll settle this the old Navy way. First one to die loses. I don't know. Seems like probably a bad idea. Japan still wants to kill people. Everyone on Bluesky. Okay, final thing. There's an exodus happening from Twitter, mainly of people who are very unhappy with politics in America and Elon Musk. This has happened before. We've had all these, parades of Twitter onto, Mastodon and Threads and all these other sites, and now they're all going onto Bluesky. I am also on Bluesky, and I'm going to give it a try. There are a lot of people that I really, really genuinely like who have moved over there and who are not posting on Twitter anymore. I'll say this: it makes me sad. I don't want Twitter to be where all my right-wing friends are, and Bluesky to be where all my left-wing fans are. I want to be able to offend people from both sides of the political spectrum in the same place. I don't want to have to post twice. I always feel like when I'm being criticized and put down by people from both ends of the political spectrum, that I am perfectly on target, and that's what I'm always aiming to do. And if I go into Bluesky, I'm just going to intuitively be a right-winger, because I just contradict people, and of course I'm going to be offending all the all the right wingers that are left on Twitter. I would like everyone just to stay in the same place. I'm still on X, Twitter, because as much as I do think that Elon is a dickhead, I still respect his companies. I love SpaceX. They're launching another Starship on Tuesday Japan time, Monday American time, and I like Twitter. I appreciate it, and for all his politics and dorkishness, he's not censoring the people who are leaving. They just don't like him, and you're allowed to go do that, and it's good in some ways. Bluesky is actually Twitter, the old Twitter, without all the functionality breakdowns and so on lately. But so I am on both. I'm gonna give Bluesky a chance, see if it catches on. But I have 16,000 followers on Twitter. And that is still the primary place I'll recommend if you want to DM me or anything like that. But I am also on Bluesky if that's where you want to be. And I'll be probably not quite as active there, but I'm going to give it a solid try, and we'll see what happens there. So, yes. Exactly right. I mean, I don't want to. How much effort do I have to make to offend, like, across the political spectrum? I try, seriously. So, all these people announcing that they're going over there. Oh, yeah, and big news tonight. Remember I said the Kobe governor, the Hyogo governor, was being forced into like a recall election because he bullied some staffers to death and was just a scumbag, and he refused to resign. Everybody apparently loves governors who bully bureaucrats to death. And so, he has just won and been reelected as governor of Kobe. They want him to kill some more bureaucrats. So, that's a thing. I guess this is the year of bullying bureaucrats to death in different countries. It's happening in Japan. So there we go. That is it. Hey, BGP, good to see you indeed. I'm doing good. I hope that you're doing good. I am about to go and start the after party because it is about that time. Aaron, if you have the link, I'll see if I can share the link if you don't have it. Actually, there we go. As always, got the link over there. The after party is awesome. Plus, I can now DJ standing up. I won't have the crotch mic. I'll be using all the sound equipment here, so I'll be able to stand up and dance and stuff when I'm DJing. I'll figure out a different camera setup for that as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, tonight is about your requests, so I'm looking forward to that. So come and join me for that. If you're not into the music, don't worry. Hang around next week. I'm back here same time. Got nothing better to do. I'll have all my Osakan experiences and stories to share as I prepare to go to Korea the Monday after that for a week. Busy couple of weeks coming up. Thank you for keeping me company. Believe in yourself. You woke up late. I'm glad you got the extra sleep. Remember to like. You can watch it back. Join me for the after party. Enjoy your morning. If you're in a part of the world with morning, enjoy your afternoon. If you're in a part of the world with afternoon, and if you are joining me here at nighttime, have a good evening. And Ilyasesi, just landed Narita. Welcome. Good to have you in here, Ilyasesi. Nice to have you. I know the question that you're asking yourself right now, Ilyasesi, which is, where the hell is Tokyo? And I can tell you, it's 2 hours that way. You've got a long way. You're not going to make it to Tokyo today, unfortunately. It'll be tomorrow when you arrive in Tokyo. But welcome to countryside Chiba, where they tell you you're in Tokyo airport. I hope I don't bump into Somali. I hope I bump into Somali, but we'll see. No, I'm sure. What can I say? I'm sure he's a nice person. No, I'm sure he's not a nice person. I'm sure I won't bump into him, so we're both fine. Anyway, join me for the after party. Thank you for keeping me company. And link Aaron has there in the notes. So see you on Tokyo Digital Crew in just a second. Peace.